Bed. Bed.
Magnus showed me that some dogs need an e-collar so that they can live their life to its fullest, more in accordance with their nature and breeding. So yeah, Magnus was one of those dogs. A dog who really needs more freedom, and that can mean going without a leash where he makes more of his own choices.
Maggie, heel.
The e-collar represents the negative reinforcement aspect of dog training, like a pop on their leash. We've had an off-leash lifestyle for some years, and that is only possible if he has an e-collar, because you don't want any big dog like him off-leash without having multiple ways to control him for everyone's safety and as a courtesy to the community. I would never do that.
Nope.
I would never let Magnus walk up to a child or let his face near theirs or anybody's.
Sit. Okay.
Even if we're passing somebody in a store, he's not allowed to poke his nose on somebody's leg as they pass by to take a sniff. That's not allowed. He's not allowed to sniff around in the store either. Not any products, nor even the floor. It helps to walk in the center of the aisle, and you give a berth to people passing by respectfully. I have found that in any store that allows dogs, Target, Home Depot, Walgreens, Rite Aid, employees and management will allow me to shop with Magnus off-leash. Never a problem. But they have to clearly see that you're in complete control of your dog. Many dogs, or I should say their owners, misbehave in a store even when they are on a leash. The dog is making physical contact with people, getting in their way, inappropriate. Now I have a very complimentary system of positive reinforcement that minimizes the need for the negative reinforcement, and that is just simply Kibble in my pocket. It's a simple system. It keeps the dog's attention on you and makes walking together formally more fun for him. You don't need to walk around with one of those goofy baskets around your waist and making a scene out of it. I like to be subtle in my communication with the dog so we don't disturb those around us. Everybody is not into your dog. That's another key to the system, is to have that communication so you don't need to raise your voice or jerk on their leash or draw any kind of attention from passers-by when you're walking on leash or off in public, a crowded store or a park. You need good communication with your dog to let him know what's expected of him. And you need to pay attention to the situation and understand your dog so you can anticipate distractions and get your dog's attention appropriately focused before they come up. For example, if I'm in a store with my dog, I need to do my shopping. I'm looking around for something to buy. I don't want to be rushed or worried about the dog. When I find the section of the store I'm interested in, I'll tell him to lie down out of the way and let me concentrate. And don't sniff around. And I can do my shopping without worrying about him when people go by. And when he's doing good, I'll give him positive reinforcement. For Magnus, I mark the behavior with a yes and give him a piece of kibble. And then when I've decided to move on, I just start walking down the aisle and tell him to heel and expect him to snap to my side. And I really like that, so he might expect a yes, a quick piece of kibble, for that as a reward for just paying attention. The trick is to control his nose and prevent him from getting distracted from what we're doing. In this case, shopping. With all the new smells in a store, you have to think of it as a training opportunity, as well as getting an errand done, such that you don't have to leave your best friend at home. And when you're training, you're using positive reinforcement too. In our case, it's a piece of kibble, and if he knows what he's supposed to do and chooses not to, no, and he gets a timely correction, either a pop on the leash or a tap with the e-collar. Especially when he is off-leash, this is necessary so that he will prioritize paying attention to you and doing what he's supposed to do, as opposed to following his nose, which is what he'd rather do. And you also have to be prepared for when people ask to meet your dog, or somebody with a leashed dog thinks that the inside of a store is a dog park, and it'd be great if the dogs can meet each other without even asking. Magnus is not into being petted by strangers, but he has to tolerate it. So we go through what we need to do, and I just use it as a training opportunity. And that's where the e-collar has to be available if he's off-leash, because you know he can never be out of line.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Magnus is always good, and that's just because I understand him, and I know what he's going to do and how he's going to react in pretty much every situation. I anticipate and I'm ready for it, and that's the only way you can do this kind of stuff off-leash with your high-energy, high-drive dog.
Good boy.
Most dogs don't need to be trained to this level, but for some dogs, especially the high-drive breeds, you really have to train them to a high level just to exist with them around the house. If you are not a strong leader with them, they will sense a power vacuum and try to fill it. And then, if you just take their training a little further, it allows you to extend that into taking them around the community on leash. You spend more time with them, they get socialized around other people, dogs, noises, and they just continue to get better. Magnus had to be trained to this high level just to coexist with him at home. It was hard for him to understand who's the boss and that he is back of the pack to anyone else in the household, any visitors, and that any of the stuff in the house is mine. Everything is mine. Good things happen when he listens to me, and bad things happen when he doesn't. Most dogs don't need an e-collar. Why are you thinking about using an e-collar? Have you been too lazy to educate yourself about how to use the leash effectively? And any dog that does have an e-collar should be professionally conditioned to it, and the owner pressing the button should have the training to use it humanely and effectively. You can set the e-collar to different levels of intensity, and it's important that you keep the level as low as possible while still getting the dog to refocus on what he's supposed to be doing. And the intensity levels will vary depending on the environment and the distractions he's exposed to.
Hey, I'm going to use the restroom.
I've seen trainers on TV put the e-collar on their own neck as a demonstration and press the buttons and say it doesn't really hurt. But in actuality, it's very uncomfortable for the dog, and if he doesn't understand why he's feeling the pressure and understands that it is in his control to prevent or make the pressure go away, it can not only ruin their training, but can really be cruel. And the benefits for the dog is much more freedom. He can now go with you anywhere, whether you are using the leash or not. He's not in the backyard looking in while you watch TV because you don't have the energy to let him in and deal with his shenanigans.
Oh, thanks. Heel. Heel. We're on 4?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Sit. It's the second time in an elevator.
No, doing well.
Yeah.
This elevator isn't doing so well.
Hi, buddy. That's us. Heel. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
He's not waiting for you to come home from doing errands or visiting friends, because correcting his misbehavior, if you take him, uses all your attention. Or you're concerned about his safety or the safety and discomfort of others when he's out with you in the community. I enjoy watching Magnus
This way.
run,
Heel.
sniff around, and explore in a safe way.
It's a good boy. Stay.
Magnus gets
This was open.
a lot of compliments
get up.
when he's out and about in the community, especially when he's off leash and behaving so well. But there are some naysayer Karens who prejudge us because of the e-collar. I did not expect that Magnus would be such a headstrong dog, but I was determined not to rehome him because I knew nobody else would be able to get him under control and give him a better life. Magnus and I hope that by hearing about our trials and tribulations and seeing the results of our hard work together, that you'll be inspired to build an even better relationship with your dog.